It's a BWF coaches conference, and we would like at least to share with you some of the BWF programs, particularly all those related to development. And what we want to show you is just briefly what we are doing in terms of developing our sport, but particularly some ideas about how you guys, the coaches, can be connected and engaging with these projects. Well, you know that we developed a strategic plan in 2011, and it was for the cycle 2012-2016. And then we developed a new strategic plan for 26 to 2020. And as you can see on the screen, we have the vision and we have the mission. Probably you know that because it's available for free in our website. But I would like really to remark what we define as our mission. In terms of, indeed, it's in the other way. No? It's, the mission is just under, and the vision is on the top. And because it's the vision of BWF is making badminton a leading global sport accessible for all, with the motto to giving every child a chance to play for life, which means a lot from a coach perspective, because you are, let's say, even not for coach, it's also for teachers. And we were talking this morning quite interesting about this kind of, it was John Wooden who talked about teaching, no? And how important is really this concept. And at the beginning, probably you will teach all the kids just to have an initial experience, but the overall goal is to keep them engaged with the sport forever, at any age. We are trying to do that, keeping 6 values that you can see also just on the screen, which is excellence, innovation, entertainment, leadership, integrity, and universality. This is the 6 value that we want to keep always in everything that we do in BWF. But we are keeping all our strategy under 4 pillars, let's say pillars or key areas of development. You know that you as coach have a lot to say in terms of entertainment, because you are working with the players to do a better performance and to entertain people. In terms of partnership, because you have to network, to work with clubs, to work with your member associations. Also in terms of capacity, because you are training people, you are teaching people, but particularly your main role is to increase our, or let's say, the participation in our sport at different level, from grassroots to elite. Always focus on players, which is the main focus of any sport. So when we talk about participation, and we are trying to focus on that, we are trying to work at different level, but what we are trying is to give every child a chance to play for life. This is something that our president likes to say, is we would like that every child in the world have a racket in their hand. This is something that we are trying to develop under 2 basic development principles. And these 2 principles are more and better. And this is something that we use, of course, when we talk about coaches. We want more coaches teaching and training more players. We want more events or competition. We are looking for more technical officials with more administrators to improve our sport and to develop the sport locally. but we are also looking or seeking for better coaches, better players, better event administrator and technical official. This is the two big principles that we are keeping in mind always when we are working in development. Well, let me show you this pyramid because I really have to say that I'm very proud of this pyramid now. Because when I started in BWF in 2009, we have nothing. We didn't have really any specific resources to develop our sport. And you can see on the screen that we have these, let's say, pink areas of development of the sport, where you can see coach education, shuttle time or school program, para-badminton, player education, national pathway, sports science, event management, national administrators, and technical officials. But what we have done in the last, let's say, 8, 9 years has been to develop all these resources in yellow. And today, we can say that we have all these resources in place. For you, as a coaches, but also for all our member associations, for all our players, for all our technical officials, and particularly for a very close cooperation with all the continental confederations. Thanks to this cooperation, we are really developing the sport globally. And today we can say that badminton is really growing. It's growing worldwide in many senses, in many areas. And you are part of this development. And let me say that you are the key drivers of that development. Without coaches, we are not going to have more players. We are not going to have particularly better players. So your role in the development of the sport is crucial. So thanks to all these resources, we are really growing. We are really giving more opportunity to the coaches, to you, to the players, to the technical official, and to all the key drivers of the sport to be really developed further. Well, I'm not going to go through this big, let's say, slide, because already Niels talked about that. But what I want to highlight is how BWF is focusing also in sports science now. We are trying to apply the sports science to all those areas, to be sure that we are getting better knowledge, to be sure that we are doing things better, with a better background, to be sure that at the end, everybody will have a much better knowledge about what they are doing, giving also different resources, and particularly, we are creating a quite successful grant research project, which is really running very well, and you saw some of the projects in Neil's presentation. But honestly, we are very impressed with the level of application that we received, for example, this year. This year, we received 46 applications, and let me tell you that 90% of them was very, very good, high level of projects. That means that we are also improving our scientific and our, let's say, profile. Well, in terms of what kind of projects we have, I would like just to show a couple of slides. This one, the first one, is just to show you what kind of participation projects we have. You know many of them because you are involved also in shuttle time. How many people are being involved in some shuttle time courses? Could you raise your hands? Yeah. You have been probably also doing some university projects. You have been in many of these areas just doing something. But this is related to the principle of having more. This is, let's say, the list of participation project that we have in BWF through the Continental Confederation, but particularly for the member association. So all the member associations have the opportunity to develop these projects nationally, regionally, and locally. But we have also this list of performance projects, or those projects who are related to better, to this principle, to have better coaches, better players, better events, better technical official, and competition. And I'm sure that many of you have been also involved on these different projects, particularly in the coach education that we are going to talk a little bit later. Who has been involved in level 1 coach courses? Level 2? And who was in some of the 2 pilots that we have organized in the last month? I can see Kenneth, because he was definitely the leader in this course. Yeah, well, I think that we have a really large number of projects to really help our member association, and particularly to help our players to be better, but also to have more players playing badminton worldwide. Well, we can arrive maybe to the more related topic that you probably like, which is the coach education system. And something that, honestly, we realized in 2011 when we ran our first survey regarding the level of development of our member association, that we had to do something. And it was because, do you know how many countries had a coach education system when we ran this first survey in 2011? Could you give me some figure? At that time, we were 179 member associations. Any figures? No? It was only 30 countries that they had their own coach education system. And in some cases, in most of them, let me say that, it was only 1 or 2 courses per year. So we realized, wow, we need to really do something, because otherwise we are not going to improve the level of coaching in our sport. We are not going to have more coaches really trying to improve the level of our players. So we decided to implement our own BWF coaching system. And it was just to provide a best practice coach education framework and coach education training materials to support members in the planning and delivery of coaching courses. The BWF Level 1 Coach education was launched just in 2012. And it was at the beginning in English, but today we can say that we have 7 languages, and we are now working in another 2 languages, which give a much better opportunity to many countries to be sure that their coaches are getting a better education. But one of the key points is that these resources are really freely available in our website. So everybody has access to those resources. Well, you have this one, indeed, on the table, which is the brochure about the BWF coaching pathway. So what you have just here is on the screen. So we have this coach level 1, coach level 2, and now coach level 3. Thank you, Kenneth, for your hard work to deliver that. But we have also working in a, let's say, university coaching award, which is the level 4. And what we are doing now is also working in a matrix to give some equivalence between the different coach education system in the different member associations and our BWF coach education. I'm going to talk about that in the next slide. But I want to highlight that we have already the level 3 in place. We have already organized 2 pilot projects or 2 pilot courses of level 3 coach education, one in Asia and one in Europe. And let's say that the main focus of this level 3 is coaching system, is youth development models, it's elite coaching, but also is to provide tools to support coaches in advancing the skills of their players at different stages. Well, what's the next step? The next step is to guarantee as well to those member associations that they have a very good coaching system, that there will be some equivalence. So what we are trying now, and we are even pilot the coaching system from Italy through this first matrix, to be sure that at the end, for example, in the case of Badminton Canada Coach Education Pathway, which is really a very good one, how we can equivalent or how we can, let's say, certificate the level that they are producing locally in Canada with the BWF system, to give them the chance to get some recognition by BWF and to move forward in the next steps or in the next level of coach education in BWF. This is something that is going to be ready, let's say, globally next year, beginning of next year. Now we are piloting, so I'm sure that many countries will use that opportunity as well, and to recognize coaches that they have already a very good level of education. Well, this is probably some figures just to keep in mind, because in 9 years of develop this project, we have really grown a lot. And this is also something that we need to reward to the member association, to reward of you, because you have been participating in all these activities. And today, as I told you, level 1, we have these 7 languages and some other in progress. In the case of level 2, it's also 5 languages. In level 3, it's English only at the moment, but we are working also in French and Spanish to be launched at the end of next year. Well, you can see some of the figures, definitely, to say that the resources of the coach education has been or had more than 4 views is really an amazing figure. And today we have coaches qualified from 110 countries. Wow, congratulations to all of you guys. It's really amazing what we have done, honestly. At the moment, there is no other international federation that have improved the level of coaching as far as we have done. Well, and just to probably, let's say, finish my presentation, I would like to talk a little bit about 2 different projects. You know very well Shutter Time. We saw this morning a very nice video clip about what Shutter Time is about. You know that Shutter Time is just, let's say, a school program, but it's even more than a school program. It's a program for beginners. It's a program to introduce people playing badminton. What we want really to achieve with Shutter Time is to be, hopefully, the #1 school sport in the future, or at least one of the most important sport at the school level. And this is something that I can tell you is really having a huge impact. When we talk about the coach education system, and when we talk that probably no other international federation is doing as well as good as we are doing in terms of coach education, definitely I can tell you that no other international federation has this level of school program. It has been recognized by IOC, TAFISA, all the, let's say, physical education association, because as you know as well, It's a program that it's available for free as well. In our website, you can download all the resources. It's we have an app in 20 different languages that you can download just now. It's BWF Shutter Time. And it's going to be downloaded in the language that you have your setting in your telephone. But honestly, it's creating also a new market. It's creating a new badminton economy in many countries where badminton didn't exist. And today, there are many kids who are asking where they can buy some badminton equipment. So now we are creating this kind of interesting economy in some countries where badminton was completely unknown a few years ago. Shutter time is being implemented, or is still being implemented in more than 130 countries, which means today nearly 75% of our member associations. Today we have 190, but we expect to reach, even for 2020, nearly 150 countries implementing shutter time. And this is a huge achievement, believe me. I'm really very proud to see that we are really growing everywhere, not only in Asia, where badminton has been always very famous. We are also growing in many different regions in Africa, South America, Oceania, and of course in Europe. Well, let me present something that maybe no one of you have already seen that, but I think that is the next stage of our sport for the future development and to achieve really this overall and global, accessible approach that we want really to do in our sport, which is outdoor badminton. Everybody knows that to play badminton outdoor is really very difficult because of the wind. We know that even sometimes this kind of outdoor badminton we didn't want to be connected or to be related with, because it was like, this is just for fun, this is a leisure thing that is not connected with badminton. But what we want is really to be connected with badminton also outdoor. We want to see people playing badminton everywhere, every time, at every age. This is what we would like to achieve through outdoor badminton. And what we did to do that, it was, first of all, to develop a new shuttlecock. Let's say an outdoor shuttlecock that it has been developed with some scientific institution, with a couple of labs. And now we can, let's say that we found it. We have a much better shuttlecock to play outdoor, to be sure that the wind is affecting less, and at the end to having a much better experience for many kids which has or who has the first experience playing badminton outdoor. Because you know that nearly 60% of the people who start playing badminton, they do it outdoor. Shutter time is playing more than 70% of the times in a school where they don't have indoor facilities. When we talk about develop the sport in Africa or in South America or Central America or Oceania or even in many Asian countries, they don't have indoor facilities. Or at least the few indoor facilities that they have is only for other sports that they are more famous than badminton. So for us, it's really a very important opportunity to give all the children who are starting playing badminton a much better experience. But also, why not, hopefully in the future, to have another different way to compete something new, something that maybe we can use at competition level, and hopefully, why not also in future major events and maybe in the Youth Olympic Games or in the Olympic Games as now we have beach volleyball. And I believe that is also another coaching opportunity for many of you. So hopefully we can really build up this new concept for the future development of our sport. So that's all. That's what I wanted to present today. Thank you.